Hello and welcome to the Social Stream, where we share great ideas, the young people who have them, and the innovative ways they are achieving real progress through social media. We're your hosts,
Angelina,
Danny,
and Liz.
For our first episode, we welcome Meghan Racklin, an NYU student who is one of the co-founders of the Better Sex Talk campaign. How are you today, Meghan?
I'm well, thank you for having me.
So would you start by explaining the Better Sex Talk campaign? What is it trying to achieve?
Sure. So Better Sex Talk at this point is primarily a photo campaign. We've worked with students at NYU as well as a few charities in the New York City area, and in the coming months we'll be expanding to schools and organizations around the country. Everyone who participates, we ask them to answer one question in 10 words or less, and the question is, if you could tell a younger sibling one thing about sex, what would you say? It started as a campaign for Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and a lot of the responses do highlight things having to do with consent and respect for sexual partners. But Josie, my co-founder, and I are really engaged in a variety of issues across kind of the whole spectrum of things related to sex and sexuality. So it's been really great to see answers that incorporate consent, answers that incorporate issues of sexuality or gender identity, a variety of things. And in terms of what it's trying to achieve, I think we're trying to encourage people to have more open conversations about things like this. And in terms of more concrete change, we're really hoping to see improvements to sex education and to the ways that sexual assault is handled.
So Meghan, can you tell us a little about how Josie and you met?
Sure. So I'm the president of the Feminist Society at NYU, and Josie reached out to me about almost a year and a half ago in relation to some things that my organization was doing relating to sexual assault, because that's something that she's really passionate about. And we sat down together just to talk about our interests and how we could work together, and we really hit it off. We have a lot in common, from the kinds of things that we're interested in and the kinds of things we work on to really terrible experiences with sex education as young people. And so we bonded over that and decided to start, or she decided to start and I decided to help start another club on campus, Students for Sexual Respect at NYU. And we got to know each other better through working on that, working on club programming, things like that. And then this campaign grew out of that relationship.
Very nice. When did you two found the campaign, and what went into building this movement from the ground up?
We started the campaign, well, it launched last April, because that's Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We started discussing it probably, I don't know exactly, last February, March, trying to figure out exactly how we wanted to frame the question. We originally thought of framing it as what was lacking in your sex education. But we found that we got answers that were more compassionate and a little bit deeper when we framed it as talking to a younger sibling. So about February or March is when we started to think about this and try to plan it, and we brought on a few other team members. We have a graphic designer and a photographer who are both also students and fantastic and are still working with us on this today. It still is, but it was very grassroots at the beginning. A lot of us trying to get our friends to sign up to have pictures taken, trying to get just as many people as we can, reach out to any contacts that we know who might be able to help us promote our photo shoots, get people to think about this and talk about this. And we had a lot of help from a variety of student leaders on campus with getting their organizations involved. And then it was on April 1st that we had everyone who'd participated change their profile picture on Facebook to the photos that we'd taken. And that's when it really started gaining momentum, because this was something then that was very visible. There's over 100 photos from our first shoot at NYU. So that's over 100 people on campus who had changed their profile picture to one of these photos, and that means that we were getting a lot of visibility, and a lot of people were trying to figure out what this was and what the purpose was, and that gave us a lot of attention.
Great. So Better Sex Talk is run primarily through social media outlets. Did you have experience running a campaign like this through social media in the past, or did you sort of learn as you went?
I don't think either of us had necessarily had experience with anything quite this large scale or quite this focused. I had some experience running social media for various student organizations, and Josie's done a lot of work with various organizations as like a communications intern. So she has some experience in some background in that realm. But for the most part, I think this was new territory, and we were looking into other photography campaigns or kind of social justice campaigns that are social media based, and learning what we could from that, and learning as we go.
So what about social media as a platform specifically do you think make it a useful tool for creating change?
I think that's tricky. I think a lot of the time it's easy to take an action on social media that doesn't actually lead to much social change. It's very easy to retweet something or share something on Facebook without actually engaging more meaningfully in a larger conversation or a larger movement for social change. But I think what was appealing about social media for us was that it was so visible and so present in the lives of the people that we're really trying to reach. It's very easy to share, it's very easy to spread, and I hope that by actually engaging people and having them come up with their own responses to these questions, we managed to really ensure that there was some concrete engagement with these larger issues. And then something we've been working on more recently is how to turn that into actual policy change, things like that. And I think that's something that has helped us there and is helping us there as we try to make that shift, is being able to back up to prove that we have support. I think we can talk about how many people are seeing these photos, how many people are sharing these photos, things like that, and that makes it really easy to express to someone in some kind of policy making or administrative capacity how much support we have and how visible this is.
How did you manage to catch the attention of so many press sources? Your website featured pulled quotes from MTV News, Huffington Post, and Bustle, just to name a few.
Honestly, I'm not really sure. I mean, we definitely hoped that it would have that kind of response. We hoped that it would be able to grow beyond just one campus or one location to be something that really is more present on a national level. But I think a lot of it is luck. A lot of hard work goes into that, but we also got very lucky. We got some coverage in campus media to start off with.
Right, I know Josie reached out to a few people asking them to write some stuff. So.
Yeah, and then going from there, trying to pitch to larger media sites, and then honestly, a lot of it happened very quickly altogether. I think once it was in a few larger media outlets, it caught on quickly, and a lot of other people started writing about it.
Do you guys have a specific press person, or has it not grown to that caliber yet, or did it just come to you?
No, our team is very small. Our team is me, Josie, our photographer, and our graphic designer. Josie's the managing director, and I'm the director of policy and advocacy. She's handled a lot of the media stuff, and some of it's more collaborative. It depends, I think, in part on what various reporters are looking for. So, the MTV News story is, I think, our most recent media feature, and that features quotes from several of us, whereas some of the photos feature quotes from Josie and just refer to the rest of our team. So I think it varies a lot based on what the individual writer is looking for or what the individual outlet is looking for out of a story. But at the moment, our team isn't really large enough to have one person who's our dedicated press person.
Right. Well, congratulations on recently funding your Kickstarter campaign. Would you tell us a little bit about what you were raising that money for?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I said before, we're beginning to travel across the country. We'll be going to several different schools over the course of the rest of the year, as well as a few different local or national organizations in other locations, other than New York City. And that requires photo equipment. that we can travel with, essentially. So the first shoot was done on campus. It was a lot easier to use the resources that we had here. But going forwards, we need something that we can take with us, that our photographer can use on shoots when we're on the road. And so that money primarily funded the purchase of new photography equipment that we can travel with. We earned a little bit more than we were expecting to, which is wonderful. And that additional money will go towards covering travel costs and various fees associated with traveling for schools that can't afford to do that on their own.
So this all sounds very exciting. Now that you've accomplished all this, what are your goals for the future for the movement?
I think our primary goal for the moment is this travel component, is organizing all of that and getting that off the ground, and doing as many shoots as we can. And then thinking more long term, I think there's a couple of things that we really want to be focusing on, the first of which is more policy change. So I recently testified at a hearing that the New York City Council held on some bills that deal with comprehensive sex education in New York City. Josie and I also lobbied Congress this past summer on some bills having to do with sex education and campus sexual assault. We'd love to continue doing more of that kind of work and really get, I think, a little bit more in depth in terms of policy analysis and thinking about what makes good policy in this realm. In addition to that, I think we're going to be working on how we can transfer the campaign that we have currently to like middle school and high school contexts, because like obviously the same framing of our main question doesn't quite work. We wouldn't really be asking middle school and high school students to give advice to a younger sibling, but rather be trying to get at what it is that's missing from sex education in a different way. So that's something that we're working on and thinking about as we go forward. And then this isn't exactly a goal. This is something that we've been working on and should be finished pretty soon, but we've been working on a toolkit that will provide resources to the various schools that we travel to in case they want to hold events or discussions on campus related to these issues.
Wow, that sounds great. Well, Meghan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
You can find more information about the Better Sex Talk campaign on their Facebook page or by visiting their website at bstcampaign.org. This has been The Social Stream. Thanks for tuning in.